Today's Nala class is Leila Nishmas Rachel Leah Bas Rav Chaim Tzvi Aleh Shalom. We want to thank Mrs. Libby Vamser in the studio, and I'm so pleased to be in the new, beautiful studio of Na'aleh in downtown Ar Zevir Yerushalayim. Big chiddush to Na'aleh, and big shachiyanas to them in acquiring this new studio. Okay. We were talking the last two times regarding criticism. Most people in the world do not like to accept criticism. We'll get to the Gemara Erechin today, which says how it's human nature. Who can ever give criticism, and I criticize you, and who are you? You're telling me, I'm telling you, who are you? Okay, we'll get to that today. We had a part A, we had a part B, and here's finally a part C, when others criticize you. The way it works out in our time structure, that we have a 20-minute period, I actually am going to finish this and we'll go on to another subject in the middle. But meanwhile, let's get started with our continuation. The inclination to deny responsibility for wrongs which we have committed is very deeply rooted. A good example of this is when God confronts Adam Harishon, the primordial man, for having eaten from the tree. He right away says, the woman made me do it. She says, the snake duped me. And everyone's blaming on the next person. No one is accepting responsibility for the error they've done. That goes back to the very beginning. A person should always try to acknowledge their responsibility, and most importantly, refrain from blaming others. My friend told me, this is Sinclair Haberman, he told me that he will summarize what he learned his first year in Harvard Business School. He can summarize it in 3 rules. One is allocate responsibilities, give it out to other people. Secondly, take all the credit for what's done. And thirdly, learn to blame others. That was, he said, the first year of Harvard Business School. We can do this. Our job is to do just the opposite. Acknowledge your responsibility, and above all, refrain from blaming others. And after all, if you deserve praise for the good, don't you deserve criticism for doing wrong? It only makes sense. People understand they've done well, you deserve reward, and you deserve acknowledgement. And if you've done wrong, criticism is what you deserve as well. Rabbi Telushkin points out that it's vital not to point out the faults in whoever is rebuking you, since it's irrelevant. And that's the Gemara which I want to come to, the Gemara in Erechin. The Gemara says in Erechin, and it's really a Gemara worth looking up, Tesvav and Erechin, if you tell someone you have a splinter between your teeth, they'll tell you have a beam between your eyes, which means you can never get anywhere. Who are you to tell me I'm wrong? Look what you've done. And it's always, yes, but me, what about you? And how can we get anywhere if that's the way it is? And the exception to this rule was the Chafetz Chaim. He was the one person that everyone wanted to hear critique from, because they knew it was so sincere and he cared about you. But as a rule, who are you to tell me this? You're like that. I learned in the Mir Yeshiva. In Mir Yeshiva, there are thousands of students, and needless to say, there's tens of thousands of Sfarim, and people come late. Here's an example. I'm in Yeshiva, and let's even say I'm learning, and someone comes late to Seder, and where he's sitting, there's a whole pile of books. He takes this pile of books, he places them behind me. This pointy part of the Sfarim is going into my back, puncturing my spinal cord, dislocating discs, messing up the vertebrae. So I turn to my potential assassin, I point to the bookcase 11 rows behind me. He looks at me like, what outer galactic planet have you landed from? Who? I'm telling him, who? But how are we going to get anywhere? I can't tell him to put the books away, and he tells me, who am I to tell him? We'll never repair. So that's a very ineffective way to give criticism. If how can I tell you? But that's the situation today. If I tell you you have a splinter in your teeth, you'll say you have a beam up my eyes. So therefore, whatever it is, don't point out the faults of the person who's criticizing you, because it's irrelevant. When you are criticized, what you should do is reflect upon what the person has said. Maybe they have a point. Doesn't mean everything they're told about you is wrong. Maybe there's something to it. Now, even if you believe the criticism is overstated, ask yourself, is there some truth in her words? Is there some kernel of truth? And maybe it's high time for me to try and better my behavior if people are criticizing me about this particular point. A person, this is hard, but it's really, really important. A person should train themselves to feel gratitude, not animosity towards their critics. Because ultimately, fundamentally what they're doing is something which is beneficial for you and your spiritual state of well-being. Says Reb Simcha Zissel Ziv, people are willing to pay a fortune to go to a doctor to try and get him to heal us. Should we be any less grateful to someone who's trying to improve our spiritual character, our moral character, our ethical character? If you're going to pay so much money to a doctor, how about someone who's giving you criticism for free? It's only for your benefit. Don't be upset. So if Noach Weinberg, of blessed memory, he had an even more concrete illustration. If someone were to point out to you, because of your carelessness, you dropped a wallet that was filled with money, you'd be so appreciative, and that should be your attitude towards constructive criticism. Someone's pointing out that we've done something careless. Rabbi Pliskin points out that a person who is interested in becoming wealthy will be willing to utilize any tip or suggestion that he thinks will be financially beneficial for him. In the very same